In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you one of my all-time favorite manifestation methods that has worked for me time and time again over the last 5, almost 6 years since I first discovered this manifestation method. And it is a particular kind of scripting. These are just some of the scripting letters I've written over the years, and on most of them, everything came true, or at least some of the things came true, which I'm still super stoked about. So what I'm going to share with you in this video is exactly how to use this specific kind of scripting step by step. We're going to break it down into 5 steps. And along the way throughout this video, I'm also going to sprinkle in lots of bonus tips for you, because over the last few years, when I've been sharing scripting on my YouTube channel here, millions of people have watched the videos, thousands of people have tried scripting, and as you can see, we have heard so many manifestation success stories being sent in, being written in the comments from people who have used this technique. So over the years, I've come to know what are the most frequently asked questions and what are the things that are most useful for you to know so you can get scripting to work for you. So this video is going to be packed with value throughout, and to prepare yourself for it, feel free to grab yourself a notepad and pen so that you can even create your first scripting letter while we're on this video. And to help you to get even more out of this video, I've also created a free step-by-step scripting guide, which you can download. It's linked in the comments below. In that scripting guide, you're going to see real extracts from scripting letters that I've written in the past, so you get real life examples of what to write and how to write it. There's a template you can follow so you can make sure you're following the correct format, and it's totally free. So that's linked down below in the comments and description. So step 1 of this 5-step process. And I'm not sure if I've mentioned this before in previous videos. It is really important that you enter the space of infinite possibilities before you put your pen to paper and create your scripting letter. What do I mean by that? Simply, I mean, open your mindset to the possibilities of what if it all works out. If you are approaching scripting, or any manifestation method for that matter, with a super limited negative mindset, filled with fear, filled with doubt, filled with self-talk where you're talking about how it probably won't happen for you, or you couldn't do it, or you're not ready, or you're scared, or what if this bad thing happens, or this bad thing happens. Look, what if it all works out? What if you can have that life? What if you can create that thing that you want to create, manifest those goals that you want to manifest? What if those fears and doubts were a total waste of your time because none of them ever ended up happening? What if it can be that good? So I want you to be in that frame of mind before we start doing this, because that's going to open up your energy and open up your mindset to all of those life paths ahead of you, right? Imagine ahead of you there's an infinite number of parallel realities that you could choose to step into. But so often we don't choose the realities where it all works out because we're convincing ourselves and always talking about and always focusing on how it couldn't possibly work out for us like that. So let yourself choose those life paths where it does work out, where it can happen for someone like you. And that's why that's a really important step 1 before we do anything else. Step 2. Now that we've opened our mindset to infinite possibilities, I want you to cast your mind 6 to 12 months into the future. Now I say 6 to 12 months, but I'm just giving you a really rough guide. The only reason why I'm saying that is because I'm clarifying that we're not looking 5 years into the future or 10 years into the future, okay? We're thinking about your next chapter, the near future. It feels close, it feels tangible, it feels like, yeah, before you know it, that's going to come around. Okay. When I say 6 to 12 months, I know that what some people do is they go, do I have to set a deadline? No, I don't believe in deadlines when it comes to manifestation. I don't believe in pressuring or stressing or forcing things to happen. I trust so much that things come to me when I'm ready to receive it, when it's ready to come into my life. So don't stress or put pressure on how everything on your scripting letter has to manifest within the next 6 to 12 months. No. We're not doing that. We're not putting that stress and resistance on what we're creating here. I'm simply inviting you to just imagine what you feel could unfold for you in the near future in your life. And I want you to focus on those kinds of goals to put on your scripting letter, because I've found that those kinds of goals work best when it comes to scripting, because it helps you to be very aware of like, this is what's happening next. And there's nothing wrong with setting long-term goals, 10 years ahead or whatever. I don't know about you, but sometimes when you're setting those really long-term goals, sometimes it feels disconnected from today, from what you do today, from who you are today, from the choices you make today. Whereas thinking about your next chapter 6 to 12 months approximately from now, it's a great reminder that what I choose to do today, who I choose to be today, is directly affecting, creating, manifesting that. And you'd also be amazed at how your life can shift and change in a relatively short space of time like that. Cast your mind into the future, roughly 6 to 12 months from now, without putting pressure on deadlines, and just let yourself think about what would be wonderful if it happened in the next 6 to 12 months. Like, what do you also feel is possible for you? Okay. Because if you write down things where you're like, oh, I'm just plucking a big lofty goal out of thin air, but I don't actually feel like that could happen for someone like me in the near future, then that's not the right thing to choose to put on your scripting letter. I want you to only choose things to put on your scripting letter that excite you when you think about them, rather than fill you with stress and dread, that feel fun, that feel possible, that feel like, yeah, I feel like that could happen for someone like me. If you have that energy with regards to those goals, those are the things to put on your scripting letter. And usually I recommend that you pick about 4 to 6 different goals across your life, across the different themes of your life, whether it's personal, business, career, money, fun, adventure, travel, your environment where you live. We often have sort of like a range of different goals across those different categories in our life, right? So pick about 4 to 6. These are all the bonus tips that I'm threading in throughout each of the 5 steps, by the way, okay? I know that, if you really sat down and thought about your life in the near future and what it looks like, you could come up with a list of 20 things, 50 things. But for the sake of making this whole process easier, I usually recommend, from my own personal success with scripting, to just focus on 4 to 6 things for now. Okay. Reason being is, if you create a scripting letter with 20 different goals on it, 50 different goals on it, number one, a little preview as to what's to come. You're going to be reading this scripting letter every day. Okay. So if it's 15 pages long, that's going to take a long time. So keep it brief. I normally keep my scripting letters to like 1 page, maybe double-sided max. So that's the first reason why I recommend just keep the goal list short and sweet. The second really important reason to keep it short and sweet is because don't dilute your energy. Don't dilute your focus across 20, 50 different things to manifest in the next 6 to 12 months. Sometimes it's a form of self-sabotage. When we take on too many things, we try and start 10 businesses at once. Why? Don't do that, okay? Don't try to start 15 different hobbies. No, don't, okay? Focus your energy on a small handful of things that you would love to manifest into your life. And that might even feel a bit scary to some of you. But the reason why it might be a bit scary is because, when you do that, you can create change. You can manifest a small handful of things because you'll be pouring enough of your focus and energy into those things. So let yourself keep it simple. Just like scribble it on a rough piece of paper, bullet points of your 4 to 6 goals that you want to include in the scripting letter. Step 3, next to each of the goals that you've jotted down in your notes, I want you to make another note next to each one saying how that will change your life. How will your life be different when that thing manifests for you? How will your life feel different? Why do you want that thing to manifest into your life? One example, in one of my scripting letters, I was manifesting more money, and I thought to myself, actually, the reason why I want more money is because I want to give myself a break from always feeling stressed and anxious about money. And so I wrote as the side note, like, how will that change my life and what will that make me feel? I just wanted to feel excited about thinking about what to buy next, rather than that filling me with dread. So that's what I wrote down, because that's the thing that came to me. Okay, your answer might be different. Maybe if you, for example, want to lose some excess weight, is it because you want a certain number on a scale? No, a number on a scale doesn't mean anything. But maybe you want to do it so that you can breathe easier, so that you feel healthier, so that you feel more confident when you're dressing up or whatever it is, like the real reason. There'll be a feeling reason to why you want to achieve a certain goal. Bonus tip to add at this point, I've had people ask me before, when it comes to things like manifesting money or manifesting a number, like an increase in subscribers on social media, anything like that, should you put a specific number or not? Now, the choice is up to you, and I'm going to explain, and then you can decide. When I first created my first ever scripting letter, I found it triggering to think about any specific amount of money, whether it was £1,000, £2,000, $10,000, any amount of money. If I wrote it, it triggered me because I had such a bad relationship with money and such a sort of low self-belief of what was possible that it would just kind of trigger me and, like I said, fill me with doubt. So in my first scripting letter, I thought to myself, okay, I want the scripting letter to make me feel good every time I read it. I don't want it to trigger me every time I read it. I don't want it to stress me out every time I read it. So I'm simply going to say, I now have more money in my account than ever before. And I didn't specify a number. And that allowed me to look at the scripting letter every time and feel like, yeah, that I can believe, that I feel open to, that is not triggering me. And in the months that followed, I then was sent down this sort of, like when the universe gives you breadcrumbs and leads you to what you need so that then you can manifest what you want. So I kept being shown the same book over and over again. I had people talking about this book. It was Secrets of the Millionaire Mind by T. Harv Eker. And I thought, right, finally I'm going to read this book. And I read it and it taught me how to manage my money. And I started practicing the practices in the book, and it totally changed the way I felt about money and gave me this confidence that, wow, when money comes in, even if it's a small amount, I know where it's going. I know that I take care of it. And I started to trust myself that I could handle more money. It was like I healed that hole in my bucket. And as soon as I healed that hole in my bucket, after that, my YouTube got monetized. So a totally second stream of income came in. Then I was offered a lump sum to do a coaching program. And then my existing income grew. Like I had more money in my account than ever before. So I definitely ticked that off the list. And not only did I have more money in my account than ever before, but it totally transformed what was really important, which was my actual relationship with money and my ability to look after it and create more of it. So if you're at a stage where a figure of money triggers you, don't worry. You can always take that approach and just say, I have more money in my account than ever before, or I have more subscribers than ever before, or my subscribers, I'm attracting more and more positive, supportive subscribers every single month. It's incredible. Or if you want to be specific and it doesn't trigger you right now and you feel like, yeah, I'm excited to create that kind of money. I'm excited to reach that level of subscribers. And I feel like I can challenge myself to that and it feels good. Then you go ahead and you write down a specific number of subscribers or money or whatever goal. Okay. So that choice is totally up to you. But I think it's a really important bonus tip so that you can just decide either way. Hopefully by now you've jotted down, we're up to step 3. How will those goals make your life different? How will that feel? Now we're moving on to step 4, which is writing that scripting letter. So on a fresh page, you've jotted down some preparatory notes. Great, well done. Now we're going to get a fresh piece of paper, and that is going to be the paper that your scripting letter is on. So basically your scripting letters are a thank you letter, okay? And you're going to write about your goals as if they've already happened. So I tend to write my scripting letters to something or someone that I feel a spiritual connection to. For example, it could be Dear Universe, Dear God, Dear Guardian Angels, Dear Spirit Guides, Dear your religion, if there is a particular God that you feel a connection to. There's no wrong answer here. It could be Dear Higher Self. I wrote my first letter to Dear Abraham and Esther Hicks because I discovered this technique through an Abraham Hicks video. So that it really doesn't matter who you write your letter to. Let that be a personal decision, and who you choose is perfect. Okay, it's basically someone or something that you would want to thank for having helped you, for having co-created with you these amazing results in your life. And you're just filled with so much gratitude and appreciation that your goals have manifested. So, Dear Universe, as an example, then I write, thank you so much. That's how I always start all of my scripting letters. And then the next part is really important, so listen carefully. You're going to write a mini paragraph, one paragraph dedicated to each of the goals. right? So one paragraph dedicated to, let's say you've got a money goal, a health goal, a travel goal, whatever it is, okay? The first sentence of each paragraph, you're going to write what has now manifested, right? For example, a sentence that says, I now have more money in my account than ever before. We now are living in this place. I've just spent 3 months living in Paris, or whatever it is, or I'm currently living in Paris, whatever, like a simple sentence that states what you want as if it's already happened. Then on each paragraph, the second sentence of each paragraph is a sentence that elaborates on the goal, okay? So if you refer back to your notes when you were preparing, you wrote down the goal, you wrote down a second note that said how it's changed your life, how it makes you feel. So you add that as a second sentence for each paragraph. So the first paragraph might be, I now have more money in my bank account than ever before. That was sentence 1. And then sentence 2 is, I love thinking about what to buy next. That's the sentence where you talk about how it feels now that that's your reality. And you follow that 2-sentence format for each of your goals. Okay, so sentence 1, I now have this. Sentence 2, it makes me feel like this. It's so good to be able to do this. I now feel confident, like that. Yeah, and you do that with each of your goals. So once you've done that with each of your goals, then at the bottom of my scripting letter, I say, thank you, thank you, thank you, even more gratitude, and then I sign it off with my name. Then you have written your scripting letter. I also sometimes, I don't do it all the time, but when I remember, I also sometimes just jot the date in very small writing on the back of the letter somewhere where I'm not going to see it every day, just for future reference, just for when you can look back and you see, oh my goodness, this manifested, this manifested, this manifested. And you just might like to look back and go, when did I write this? Wow, So you can do that if you like. So step 5, you've written your scripting letter. Now, what do you do with it? Now, you're going to put your fresh new scripting letter on your bedside table, on your nightstand. And the reason why we put it there is because your next task is to read your scripting letter every morning as soon as you wake up, and every night just before you fall asleep. Just before you turn off the light, read that scripting letter. Here's why. The first thing and the last thing that you think about, that you focus on, your subconscious mind is more open at those 2 times of day. So any of you who also love my Neville Goddard guided sleep meditations, you already know, right? That as we're drifting off to sleep, the last things that we're thinking about, that we're focused on, that we are imagining is our reality, goes straight into the subconscious way easier than any other time of day. And then while you are asleep, your mind rehearses the last information that you gave it all throughout the night. It's going into your subconscious. The goal with manifesting is you want the things that you are focused on, your dreams, your goals, you want your subconscious mind to be focused on them, processing them, digesting them, feeling like it's already yours now, because your subconscious mind controls 95% of what you do. It controls the reality that we experience. And so you really want your subconscious to be on board with it. It will then lead you. Like I said, that example of I kept being shown this book. Why do things like that happen? Because your subconscious mind is going, hey, you might not understand why I'm showing you this right now, but trust me, you need this as your next step. You have set your destination as manifesting this goal. Okay. Here's step 1, okay? So when you read your scripting letter every morning and every night, you can just glance at it, just read it through quickly. You're going to be doing this every day for 30 days. So repetition is how we're feeding the subconscious with this. So it's okay if every day you feel a bit different, as long as you are showing your mind, showing your subconscious that letter every morning, every night. Okay, do that for 30 days and then just put it away, put it in a drawer, move on, forget about it. Because you've been feeding your subconscious mind with that for the last month or so, now you have tuned your programming to go there, to create that, to let those things be your new reality. So then what's going to happen? Over the coming weeks, over the following, weeks and months, you will be provided with the breadcrumbs. Your subconscious will give you this nudge, suggest you that idea, inspire things so that you meet a certain person or have a particular conversation, and just follow the breadcrumbs, okay? Follow the breadcrumbs, take action on the inspiration when it hits. limits. Allow yourself to pursue those opportunities and trust that you've tuned your subconscious to this stuff, to these goals, right? It's the best way for you to create actual change that you want in your life in the next 6 to 12 months. You've done the scripting work, you've primed your mind for it, then you go live it. So make sure to actually take the action and follow those signs and nudges when they're presented to you. I have another bonus tip for you. This is meant to be fun, okay? If you are approaching scripting with super desperate, frustrated, stressed energy, and you're going, I really hope this works, I need this to happen, I want this to happen, I'm gonna force it to happen, you're approaching it with totally the wrong energy. I think the reason why scripting has worked so well for me is because from the very first letter I wrote, I thought, sure, why not? This sounds fun. I get to cast my imagination out and hey, sure, I'd like this. I'd love that to happen. I feel like that could come, and I'm going to write these things down and I'm going to make myself feel happy and like I've already got them every day for the next 30 days. And you know, what have I got to lose? I've only got everything to gain and nothing to lose, right? And so I think that approaching this whole thing with that light, fun, game-like energy is a big key and is what has led to so many people getting such mind-blowing results with this type of scripting. So remember, if you haven't done so already, you can download the free step-by-step scripting guide to support you in creating your first scripting letter. Or even if you're watching this video to get a refresher before you create your next scripting letter, let me know, and I hope you enjoy the scripting process. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a big thumbs up. If you haven't done so already, make sure to hit the subscribe button and ring my bell so that you never miss another video. Until next time, bye!